We interrupt the endless cycle of printing money to bring you this important message.
Chet System says, stay classy. Lesson 1. The Great Bifurcation. How to separate a population from their humanity.
Don't beat the system, greet the system.
To some, it might be a dumb or even obvious question, but is our culture really formed and shaped by those at the top of society? We know how much influence a single rich and powerful person can have, but what about an organized group of power brokers uniting their wealth to expand their reach together? Is it possible that the philanthropy of their supposedly charitable non-profit foundations could be weaponized to create favorable conditions for their own profitable foundation trusts? Shit to think about, no doubt. History celebrates one man as the godfather of modern propaganda, the nephew of Sigmund Freud, my homie, Edward Bernays. The Freud and Bernays families were quite intermarried, as most elite families do, to preserve their wealth and legacy. On Bernays, he wrote many books, including 1923's Crystallizing Public Opinion, 1928's Propaganda, 1945's Public Relations, and 1947's Engineering of Consent. These works were built upon the trailblazing efforts of Walter Lippmann, Wilfred Trotter, Gustave Le Bon, and even Uncle Siggy himself, and would eventually help to theorize and define the entire field of public relations, aka mass or crowd psychology. Bernays saw the public masses as a herd of irrational animals, easily influenced by external forces. His work was ultimately about using symbolism to promote ideas and to manufacture events to create the spectacle of publicity, all to subject populations to influences that could control them in ways desirable to the wealthy elite social controllers. Now, there's too much to say about Bernays for a single short take, though he spent much of his early life trying to shift the term propaganda from being a pejorative to something more positive. In his later years, much effort was spent developing his methodology he called engineering of consent, which sounds completely benevolent. Either way, super great guy, very talented. And if you like smoking, bacon, ivory soap, fluoride, and sexy cars, then please give us a like in honor of Uncle Eddie. Now I'd like to serve you up a tasty quote from Bernays that kind of sums up his perspective. The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits of the masses is an important element in a democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, and our ideas suggested, largely by men we have never heard of. This is the logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized. Vast numbers of human beings must cooperate in this manner if they're to live together as a smoothly functioning society. In almost every act of our daily lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or even our ethical thinking, we're dominated by the relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is, after all, they who pull the wires which control the public mind. True dat. Can you even imagine some national leader using techniques like I just mentioned to make their citizens think that freedom is selfishness? Now I know, a person can dream. The point is that now you know and understand that the idea of propaganda and public relations not only exists, it's actively used on the regular, but constantly being refined to become more subtle and pernicious, especially as new platforms emerge. You're now informed, and you have been noticed. In effect, united messaging or global messaging, it's just another lever for the powers group to be pulling on so that they can move society efficiently in certain directions And since the elites of the World Economic Forum and the Bilderberg Group and Chatham House and the Council on Foreign Relations, etc., are nothing but benevolent, you can trust society is moving in a cleaner, greener, more biosecure direction. After all, it's not like psychopaths and sociopaths could become super wealthy or influence the gears of power to move themselves into positions of control. Do you not agree? The idea of an insecure, power-hungry, secretive, ultra-elite trying to exploit the public towards poverty, it's almost cartoonish. I mean, does this man look like a Bond villain? No. He's a very important author and visionary whom we'll discuss in another video. Ultimately, you need not worry. If it seems that the various groups of the mega wealthy are using their to change our society, then no, it's for the better. Now yeah, sure, there may be some infighting over approach and other things, but otherwise things are moving forward together, very smoothly. The council actually seems quite happy that Justin has invoked his Enabling Act, which is always nice to see. So, I guess we'll see you at the lockstep party. Anyways, you know, there's a bunch of moldy old dusty books that you could read and elucidate yourself on Bernays and mass psychology and all of that. But don't worry, I won't hold my breath.
After discussing with Cabinet and caucus, after consultation with caucus from all provinces and territories, after speaking with opposition caucus, the federal government has invoked the Emergencies Act to supplement provincial and territorial capacity to address the cockades and occupations. I want to